Hey y'all, and welcome to PolitiBrawl News. My name is Brian, and RFK Jr gives a perfect answer to this ridiculous Democrat's question, and she refuses to take his answer at any value. This is just ridiculous. Now let's dive in.
Mr. Kennedy, I was struck by your comments during our meeting last week.
What?
I was struck by your comments in our meeting last week where you made it abundantly clear to me that you intended to clean house of the professional scientist at the National Institutes of Health, which you know is headquartered in the state of Maryland and employs thousands of hardworking Marylanders. I, for the record, believe in scientists and I believe in doctors and I trust them over politicians without medical degrees. You talked about bad science and bad scientists, and in fact, you specifically said to me in response to my question that you intend to replace the bad scientist with the good scientist. And so I want to ask you, in your opinion, what makes a scientist or a doctor qualified to serve at the National Institutes of Health?
A scientist who's devoted to empirical methodology, to evidence-based science, scientists who understand the importance of replication, the importance of publishing raw data and being open and transparent about it, the importance of publishing peer review. We have, NIH has overseen over the past several years the precipitous decline in American health. There's 91,000 people at HHS, and are you suggesting that some of them should not be held responsible for that decline? They were in charge of protecting our health.
Let me just insert here.
Let me just finish.
But let me just say this, because I only have 3 minutes left. I don't set the rules here, but I ask the questions. And the question is really whether you intend, as you said, to substitute essentially your judgment for the judgment of these professional scientists and doctors.
I'm not going to substitute my judgment for science. Of course, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, listen, the New York Times just did an article last week talking about the fraud, the 20-year fraud, 800 fraudulent studies produced by NIH on amyloid plaques and not allowing any other hypothesis about the cause of Alzheimer's to be explored.
Well, how will you decide, Mr. Kennedy, which scientists are bad scientists? Are they the ones who disagree with you?
The ones who are corrupt, the ones who have been doing science like the amyloid plaque studies that were fraudulent.
These doctors, let me ask you a question. Do you have a medical degree?
Do I know?
Okay, let me go to the next question. The Heritage Fund has compiled a watch list of federal employees to go after federal staff. Is there a watch list for federal staff at HHS?
Not that I know of.
Have you or has anyone in the administration developed a list of career scientists or federal staff that you would target for termination?
Not that I know of.
And let me just ask you another question. Now, your failed presidential campaign has been raising money to try and cover your debts. And you were questioned about this yesterday and failed to answer a question that Senator Warren asked you. And so I want to ask you again regarding these emails that you have sent to raise money. How much has your presidential campaign made fundraising off of this administration's complete disregard for the workforce at HHS?
Excuse me? I didn't hear the question. The last part.
How much money has your presidential campaign made off of fundraising, off of this administration's complete disregard for the workforce at HHS?
Zero.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record 2 emails from this week and the week before regarding fundraising that you are currently doing through your presidential campaign.
Without objection.
And finally, I want to ask you, I have you said you were on a show on February 26, 2021, an interview with Dr. Judy Mikovits, where you said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving Black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours." Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that the particular antigens that blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the pollen article suggests that blacks need fewer antigens than...
This is so dangerous.
So you get the same measles vaccine.
Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect, that is so dangerous. Your voice would be a voice that parents would listen to. That is so dangerous. I will be voting against your nomination because your views are dangerous to our state and to our country.
I mean, do you think science is dangerous, Senator? This is published, peer-reviewed studies.
I yield.
You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. There's only one explanation for this. I'll get to this. I'll get to it in just a moment. But RFK Jr. just answered every single one of her questions fairly well until the last, I only have 17 seconds left, so what vaccine schedule should I have received? Are you kidding me? First off, the whole premise of his point in regards to there's a difference between races, maybe we need to start applying that to how we handle whether or not you're going to get immunized against something. Okay? Or maybe we should tailor certain immunizations to help certain races here or there. Science is a big, beautiful world, considering that we live in a big, beautiful world. Is it not possible that we can actually tailor-made certain items to directly help your health? That's the question that RFK Jr. is trying to raise here. And instead of embracing that, we can actually expand this idea even further and help out hundreds of thousands, even millions of Americans, all because some bureaucrats have been a little bit too tight with the rules, that should get her excited if she really is representing Maryland, which apparently is home to one of the largest concentrations of, I think, doctors and scientists, something along the lines. She mentioned that here, but shouldn't that excite you for the sake of science? No, it does not. And I think it is because, deep down, this isn't about science. This isn't about discovery. This isn't about using and harnessing its great powers to help out average, everyday Americans. This is about keeping the status quo and keeping Big Pharma as happy as possible and keeping the consensus of the doctors who, by the way, if they get out of line once, they become pariahs. Okay, this is what happens in more lefty-style circles because a lot of doctors tend up being Democrats, and that's because they have also bought into the nonsense that has just plagued Democrat policies and politics ever since the 1960s purges, which back at the time, I understand why there's a historical precedent for that. But ever since the 1960s, the Democrat Party has been full of people that if you don't stay with the consensus, we're going to kick you to the curb. It's like the monkeys in a cage where they touch the banana, they get shocked. There's a study that says if you want to understand work-based behavior, all you got to do is look at these monkeys, and eventually every single one of them touches the banana and gets shocked. Then they bring out a new monkey. New monkey gets shocked, so on and so forth. And eventually they start realizing that, if you reach for the banana, you're going to get shocked. So they all tackle the monkey that's trying to reach out its paw and grab the banana. And so now no one realizes exactly what's going on. All you know is if you reach for that banana, you get shocked. Okay? That is the behavioral study here. And instead of talking about this in scientific terms, this senator, Senator Alsobrooks, at least I believe that's how you pronounce it, Alsobrooks, she, being a black woman, instead wants to create some fake outrage because RFK Jr. said that, hey, there's differences between black folks' immunizations and white folks' immunizations, which is okay in a blanket statement. It's okay to say that at face value. What's not okay is when you take that and say, see, one side's better than the other. And that's like making fun of swimmers for being mostly white in the Olympics or runners being mostly black in the Olympics. We have different body types. It's okay to say that. The line is when you use that to discriminate against someone, okay? So we're not even tap dancing on the line here. We're merely talking about the idea that, hey, is it possible that we can have a better system for healthcare in the United States? And instead of embracing this idea, this senator instead says, no, I'm going to keep up the status quo. You are dangerous because you threaten, essentially, who lines my pockets. All right, that's what's going on here. RFK Jr. is threatening to end a whole lot of what makes Big Pharma, big and terrible. And instead of embracing the idea that we can build something better, which is an inherently American ideal, the Democrat Party, and particularly this senator, instead says, no, we're not even going to get close to that. I'm going to stay in my bubble, and you should too. I think that's terrible for Americans. That's terrible for science. That's terrible for our future. And RFK Jr. is standing up against that. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on PolitiBrawl News. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.